right. 3, 2, 1. Let's go, yo. Let's go. Let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Hey, sorry for being a little tardy. My PC's a little slow today. My other choice, or my other option, is to completely reboot, and I really don't want to do that. So anyways, this is where we are. Here's my message of the day for you. So, hey, nice to meet you. My name is Wayne. I'm a currency trader. What do you do? So I do technical and fundamental analysis. Fundamentals to identify long-term trends. Technical analysis to enter and exit those trends. I'm a trend trader. I'm a swing trader. I like to day trade. I like to scalp. That's pretty much it. I don't know. Well, carry, I guess. But anyway, so get involved, ask questions. This is a community. You are a part of it. Make sure you subscribe. Okay? Make sure you ask questions and get involved. Please leave comments. And click the little like button. The reason you click the like button is that it says, hey man, hey YouTube, this is quality content. That's it. That's why you do it. It's very, very important. It's important to YouTube. If it's important to you, let YouTube know, all right? Okay? So, still sitting on pretty much the same as yesterday. 400 pips here, 350 pips here, 280 pips here, 233 pips here, 285 pips here, and 1,162 pips there. So, not a lot has changed, but you probably have noticed that things have been, the yens are up and down, and everything else is sort of up and down and sideways. And, well, that's one of the benefits of having somewhat of a portfolio is they offset each other and they stabilize the volatility in your portfolio. So you can think of it as those 6 trades every day, let's say, pay me 10 pips in interest. Not huge, right? But that's guaranteed, 3,000 pips a year, right? More than that, but you get the idea, right? It's probably even more than 10 pips. It's probably close to 4,000 pips a year guaranteed. That's cool, right? I think that's cool. So what would you like me to cover today? Why don't you very quickly pop in your most pressing needs or desires? Okay? Hey, Isaac. Yeah, you can recover, Isaac. Pound Kiwi. Oil, gold, pound yen, euro dollar, pound Kiwi. Aussie yen's going up. Why? Maybe people are buying it. Pound CAD, euro dollar, euro Aussie, euro Kiwi. I'm always surprised at your crosses. There's a real high demand for crosses. I'm always surprised by that. But I'll do it for you. Right? But anyways. Benjamin says, Bank of Canada PMI, what do you think were the results? Well, just look at the trend. Like, you guys, you should not, like, I don't know, this idea of guessing on news. First of all, individual points of news is not that important. It's the fundamentals. What is a fundamental? Well, it's the trend in the news and the interpretation of the trend by the central bank. So, like, what do I think PMI is going to be? Why don't you just look at the last 25 Canadian PMIs and tell me what's the median, what's the mode, right? What's the mean, what's the median, what's the mode, and give me some standard deviation data. Like, I mean, that's the easiest thing in the world. Just, right? What is the trend? But way more important of like, what is the Bank of Canada's PMI? Like, who cares? Nobody cares about that. But the Bank of Canada is thinking about maybe cutting interest rates. That's what matters, bro. Canadian PMI, just look at the trend. It'll be probably about trendish, right? You see what I mean? Oh, the volume's choppy. Sorry, guys. Let me get my boom mic out. Whoa! Well, that's a little close, right? Let's do it this way. Yeah. Nice. G'day, mate. Ew, yeah. Do it like that, maybe. Get right in there. Crisp and clean. So fresh and so clean, clean. But anyways, do you understand, Benjamin? That's what really matters. Okay? Now, you said that yesterday I'm a bull on CAD. Well, you got to be careful because if they cut, the Canadian dollar's likely to weaken. And you're like, well, Wayne, that's exactly the opposite of the of what you said about the Fed. Oh, I know. But the US dollar is not the same as the Canadian dollar. Oh, no, it's not. Those are two completely different things. Okay? One is the reserve currency for the world to do business with, and its central bank is essentially now the de facto central bank of the entire world. The other one is Canada. Okay? So they will behave differently. Okay? Cool. So anyways, is the sound improved, guys? I was just trying, it just wasn't, the mic just wasn't in my face, that's all. I have it way out here maybe. Is that all right? I guess I could get closer. I don't know if I can get closer. Well, it's too close, too close. All right, much better. Right on. You feel the matrix. Right on. Cool. Sound is fine. All right, so someone says, any idea about what's going to be good for trading? Well, look at what we're staring at. Euro gaining some strength, Kiwi gaining some strength, Swissy weak, yen weak, dollar weak. I don't know, euro dollar, pound dollar? So what's this thing that's going on in the UK right now? There was a debate, and then there's a vote coming out. And so anyways, pound is Oscar Mike as well. So why don't we look at dollar and Swissy pairs? Okay. Yes, it's at metatraders.com, Jose. The link is in the description below. This version only works for MT4. Oh, no, that's right. The other issue is if you have an ECN account, I think it is, or a demo account. I forget what it is, but some of you guys have set up your accounts so that when you look at your symbol list, there's a little I next to this. I forget what that is. Is that ECN or is that demo or is that mini accounts or something? But anyways, if you have a little I here, for some reason that index won't work. I don't know why. Okay, I don't know why, but that's the case. That's ECN? Yeah. So it won't work for an ECN account. Why? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Luis says, what's the difference between a currency index and the yen crosses? Well, first of all, the yen crosses are currency pairs traded against the Japanese yen. The index is each individual currency. So let me go back. Okay. Okay, pound index. This is the Great British Pound versus everything. This is the euro versus the Canadian dollar, the Australian dollar, the New Zealand dollar, the US dollar, the Japanese yen, the Swiss franc, all that kind of stuff. Here's CAD versus everything. This is Aussie versus everything. Kiwi versus everything. That's what an index is. Okay? And this, like for example, Swiss franc is weak, right? Relatively weak versus everything. So in this case, you might want to sell it. The Japanese yen pairs are just pairs with the Japanese yen on the right-hand side. Oh, is that right, Jim? That's the fix? Thanks, Jimmy. Cool. All right, so there we go. We got that covered. We were doing dollar pairs, right? I use the central banking reports. Okay? What economic indicators do I use for my formulate my bias? Everything. Everything. I use everything. Business cycles, political cycles, economic cycles, right? Inflation indicators, growth indicators, sentiment indicators, right? Fiscal policy, all of it. Geopolitical risks, all of it. It's all important. And it boils down to one thing. What will the central bank do? Cool. All right, so let's start here. We know Kiwi is improving. We know US dollar is weak. Cool. What else do we know? Well, let me get my drawing tool. Marcel says, so hard to be profitable long term. I bet you've never tried anything that's long term in Forex. So you might be saying, well, on my 1 hour chart, on my 15-minute chart, sometimes I make money and sometimes I lose money. It's so hard to be profitable in the long run. Well, you haven't even tried the long run. I think it's much easier long run. Okay? If you enter a trade today and you get 25 pips profit, move your stop to -3 and don't touch it for a week. See if you can make more than 25. Don't touch it for a month. Well, for that, you're going to need some fundamental bias. You're going to need some decent technical analysis. Okay? And then you'll do better on the long run. Oops. You'll do better. You got this, dude. You can do this. But for you to do well in the long run, you should try trading on the long run. So I don't know you. I don't know your style, but I'm just sort of talking to the aggregate here. All right, I'm trying to get my drawing tool in here. Hang on. There we go. Yes, that is correct, FX Mad. All right, so I'm ready to go here. All right, how many people here are a bull on Kiwi dollar? Oh, what do you need to change a change in policy at the central bank, FX Mad? Alex, Jim, currency traders. Anybody else? Texas wants to short the Kiwi. Okay, fine. Now, in October, we learned that the Fed is less likely to cut interest rates further than before. Is that true? Because I'm starting with the why before the what. I did special coverage. I did the FOMC meeting live for a couple of hours. We've talked about it in webinars. I talk about it with my swing trading group. And what is the likely outcome in that scenario for the US dollar? Benji says dollar will weaken. Yeah. That's what I told you weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Is that 1,000% factual? I want to make sure you understand. Because again, if you understand, profitable long term is not the biggest challenge you face. Because if you understand, then everything else is a lot easier if you understand. Is that 1,000% true? Pasha says, after Trump, Powell, God knows what they cut or not. Don't even think that way. Stop typing it. Stop thinking it. Okay, does this mean it's not 1,000% true? I don't know why all of a sudden everyone stopped answering. Why don't you tell me what percentage of truth you believe that to be? Someone's like, well, that's 78%, but not 1,000. Where are you? I'm trying to figure out where you are intellectually. Juan says only 99%. And he said twice. Okay. Is it at least 99% true? Currency Trader says, until announced, we don't know. That's nonsense, dude. You have to look at the facts and make a decision. Yeah. Really? So I'm all of a sudden everyone stopped typing. So I'm trying to figure out where you guys are. The question has to do with the Fed nearing interest rate cuts. And if that's true, the dollar will weaken. Do you know that to be... have I taught you that? Yeah, seasonality is just a cycle. Benjamin says yes. Lucas says yes. Andrew says yes. Peter says no. Interesting. Chuck Duck, yes. Louise, yes. Juan says, you said they are making deals with that in mind. Who's they? And okay. Okay. Quite a few. Okay. Yes. Okay. Now, if you are a bull from on on Kiwi dollar because maybe you don't care anything about the Kiwi. All you know is you believe, so again, right or wrong is irrelevant. You believe, or your hypothesis is, under current fundamental conditions, US dollar will weaken. That is the most important decision. Now, if you did the opposite and said, well, under these market conditions, fundamentally, you believe the dollar will strengthen, that's fine with me as well. Okay? I don't care. But what I care is you've made a solid decision. So, under the explanation over the October, you may be in a position where you believe the Fed is at or near the end of the rate cutting cycle for now. You've looked at the Fed watch and you can see in the money market, contracts negotiated, multi-billion-dollar contracts negotiated bank to bank have priced in no further rate cuts for now, in December and in January. Now that might change, and then the market will change. That's fine. But right now, you've done this research and you're like, dollar weakness. Good. So now all you do is look to sell the dollar. Do you understand like how crystal clear, how sharp as a razor's edge that is? You know exactly what you want. Okay? Now technical analysis is significantly easier because you're not asking like, what does MACD tell me? MACD doesn't tell you crap. MACD is an algorithm. Okay? Cool. So based on technical analysis, where should you buy, let's say, I don't know, this week? Oh, right there. Or sorry, that was last week. This week. Okay? That's it. Okay? That's it. It's not complicated. This is a buy zone. This is a buy zone. It's just technical analysis. It's not even opinion. It's just that's what the charts say. But the charts don't tell you what to do. Now, if you're a bear, you're like, oh, but wait, no, yeah, but if you're a bear, you would have been selling up here, and now you're getting knocked out of break even. So? You don't know what the market's going to do. You just know what you're going to do. So if you're a bear, you sold up high. You were only profitable for a couple of weeks, and then you got knocked out of break even. Cry me a river. Now, if you're a bull, these are clear buy zones, super simple, just technical analysis. And so you bought those and it's going up. You don't know if it's going to break or roll over, but that's what risk management's for. You don't know any of these things, but you know where to buy. If you know you're a bull, in this case a bear on US dollar, knowing where to buy is straightforward. Straightforward. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And you know it days in advance. Okay? So you got to get there. If you're running around like you don't know what to do tomorrow, stop trading for a while. Take a course. Try fxbootcamp.com. Okay? If you're opening your chart to figure out where the next trade is, like today, like if you're on this chart, let's say, and you're like, what do I do now? You're not trading. You're not a trader. You're a video game player. You should be playing Fortnite, not Forex. Okay? Now, if you've... Okay? Anyways. Cool. Yeah, you got it, Alex. Cool, right? The problem, and I think where most people get messed up, is that's not what's taught in school. So you might have taken a class at Harvard, or maybe you took a class at ed and X for $2. And you're like, they didn't teach me right. Well, there you go. But that's why I'm here for you. All right. So anyways, we could do the opposite here. So USD CAD, in that case, it would be a sell. Okay. So we can click in a couple and delete. So where's this week's sell zone if we are a bear on the US dollar? Right here. Look how beautiful that entry is. Just beautiful. Gorgeous. Okay. Gorgeous, right? Let me thin this one out. Let's do it this way. It actually, okay, there's the front run. There's the pullback. Wow, that's so thin you can't see that at all. All right, let's do it again. Here's Friday. Here's Monday. Down. That's how you trade, yo. That's how you trade. Now, on a weekly basis, if you have a little more advanced technical analysis skills, you will know we are in a counter trend position now. So if you are a bull, you better get ready and get in the game. Okay? If you're a bull. It doesn't tell you to be a bull. If you're already a bull, right, it's time to get ready. And that's what bulls are thinking over the rest of the week and next week. Okay? Any questions about that one? Benjamin says, is it possible to scalp building permits? You're kidding me. What's that going to move? 4 pips? NFP moves 33 pips. What's building permits going to do? Currency Trader says, but if USD is weak, this would continue to slide. Well, maybe you're judging the Canadian dollar on top of that. Maybe. That's true. If Canadian dollar is weak and US dollar is weak, this would move sideways. What I'm trying to show you, currency traders, is that you build a bias on one currency and you use technical analysis to set up trade plans. Right? No. I'm not being mean to Benjamin. I'm being mean to building permits, not to you. I have nothing but respect for you, Benjamin. Building permits is what I'm like, what does that matter? Who cares about building permits? Okay. Carlito says, I'm banking on USD weakness and CAD strength. But let's say you don't know CAD. Okay? Let's say you don't know CAD. All you know is dollar. So now you have to say, well, is this a reasonable trade setup? Okay? Yes. Like, that's very basic. Okay? That one's very basic. The problem, or if it's not really a problem, but I guess the challenge to this particular trader is that market conditions are not yet favorable on the medium term. This is still the big move, right? So they face this risk now next week, this week and next week. But it doesn't mean you can't trade this. If you're a bear, you're a bear. You set it up. It exists. That is a beautiful trade, by the way. Beautiful trade if you're a bear. Beautiful. Monday morning, ciao, right? But now you got to recognize there's at least 2 reasons to take your profit and run. Okay? But this is what I'm leading you towards. You've made some sort of fundamental decision on one currency, and now you go across the board trading that one thing. Many of you guys still don't do this. Okay? So I have one idea here, dollar weakness. Cool. So there's two currencies with potential trades, right? Do we pick another one here? Aussie. Okay? Let's double check everything. Okay? Cool. You ready? What is the best pivot point for buying if you are a bull? Bitcoin, I only really trade dollar, yen, and Swissy. Okay. 3 people say M2, M2, M2. Anything else? M2, M2. Not the pivot, wrong. M2, M2. Some of you guys are saying daily M2. Some of you guys are saying weekly M2. Some of you are saying monthly M2. It's whatever time frame you're trading. It doesn't matter. But the answer correct is M2. All right? This is the M2. So, let's repeat. You're a bull. You know you're a bull. You know why you're a bull. You can only buy. And you know the exact price in which you're interested in buying. Somewhere around 67.92. So you bought it. You're done for the entire week. By the way, some of my swing traders will tell you that in this scenario here, very often, but not always, but a swing trader would expect a counter trend to develop there. Doesn't always happen, but if you're a bull anyways, you're like, oh, every bear on the planet's going to get up. Okay? Okay? Is this starting to click? That all I've done, guys, is made one fundamental decision, and it doesn't even have to be right. I just need to make a decision. And from that, I can go through currency pair after currency pair after currency pair, looking for something specific. I'm not kind of asking like, what is this? What does it want me to do today? I already know that. So now I can find exact prices. Okay? And we knew this yesterday, the day before, the day before that, the day before that, the day before that, the day before that. All you have to do is wait. You have to have the patience and discipline to wait. Okay? Pivot point's okay, but it's not important to me. Okay? I'll tell you why. Let me explain it this way. Let's do it this way. Okay? All right. If I'm a bull, the two pivot points I'm interested in is this one and this one. And if I'm a bear, the two pivot points I'm interested in are this one and this one. So these two cancel each other out because bulls and bears are both going to be interested in that area. So they're not interesting to me. They offset each other. It only matters when we're in very strong trends. So like in this case, a bear would have sold here, but a bull would not have bought there. No. Never in a million years. Okay. You see? And bears have lost this because it's not the best. Sometimes you have to. but I don't care about it. You see what I mean? We are in the business of buying low and selling high, not trading at neutrality. Okay? So here's the interesting thing. I've asked you to be a bull or a bear, and I told you I don't care which one. So you were a bull. Did you buy in here last week? Maybe. Did you lose a lot of money? No, because the maximum you could risk is this much, and that's not a lot. Okay? Did you buy here? No. Did you buy here? Probably not. Did you buy here? No, not likely. Did you buy here? No, not likely. Did you buy here? No, not likely. Did you buy here? Yeah, you're supposed to. Now, imagine trading like that for 52 weeks. Most of the time, you're likely to be correct. Some of the time, you're going to take a loss. Some of the time, you'll break even. And some of the time, you won't get a trade at all. So you're small, right? So anyways, at the end of the year, you'll be left with profit. Okay. Trend looks down, though. Okay. So what that sets up is next week's trade. So if you're a bear, that's pretty easy too. Okay. Would you sell up there if you were a bear? Currency traders, it's all the same. You're just changing the time frame. You should look at your monthlies, your weeklies, and your dailies. Yeah, you guys are saying yes. Well, you're planning now for the future. So you're like, I don't know if we're going to get there, but if you were a bear on this pair, right, a sell, I suppose, here or here would be awesome. Here, based on this roll reversal, there, based on that M4, then you look at likelihood, what's most likely, and you're like, well, that gets us up to R1, and then we'll probably come down, then we'll probably double top, and then we'll probably drop. Maybe. I don't know. That's your thought, right? And that's something that you might trade. Or it does this, and now what? You get out there because you expect that to come down. What else is plausible? It could just kind of fizzle out here. Okay? If you're a bear, you're creating contingency plans now. Where's your plan A? Where's your plan B? Well, if I was creating contingency plans, I'd say, well, this is obviously the first one. So this is going to be my plan A this week. And if it goes higher, somewhere up here near 69 is going to be my plan B as a bear. You understand? See? If you're a bull, right, your plan A would have been this, your plan B would have been this. Okay? So this week, your plan A is this, or your plan B is this. Oh, look, it's exactly the same thing. I know, right? You see? See, I don't know if this is going to go up or down forever, right? I don't know the future. I don't know when or market conditions will change. I do expect things are coming, but until now, all I have is my bias. A red guitar, 3 chords and the truth. Right? All I have is my bias for now. And my bias gives me my technical setups. Strategy and tactics. Oh, strategic and tactical Forex trading, right? So if I am a bear in the US dollar, it becomes very, 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 very definitional. Okay? Very definitional. I'm a buyer here. I'm a buyer here. I'm a buyer here. I'm a buyer. Oh, sorry. Wrong one. Oh, trust me. Okay, buyer here and buyer here. And this one I never got. Okay? So this one I maybe profited from. Didn't get anything here. This one would have been profitable. This one maybe break even. This one, small loss. This one's working again. And I did the same thing here. Right? Maybe I bought that central. Doesn't matter because there's that, right? And there's that, and there's that, and there's that. Every day, every week, week after week after week after week after week after week. I do the same thing. How many times have I told you your Forex trading should be boring? First of all, you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting the same results. And two, you're never over leveraged, so it's never exciting to begin with. Okay? So your trading should be boring. If it's not boring, you're screwing up. This is a career. It's like working at a factory, guys. If your trading's exciting, it's because you're gambling. Or the thrill of not knowing what's going to happen next. I don't want to trade if I don't know what's going to happen next. Sorry. I know, it doesn't sound good. I know. It's just coffee, dude. Don't get excited. Okay? Am I having a positive impact, guys? Are you starting to hear me? Oh, right on, currency traders. Alejandro's like, I'm over leveraged. We all are in the beginning, honestly. But it's your job to, over time, reduce your leverage, okay? No, so I have all these giant coffee mugs, and I got too big, too heavy to carry them all upstairs. So my kitchen down here, so my house has 3 kitchens. So this one has a dishwasher as well. So I got lazy. Instead of taking all the coffee mugs upstairs, I did the dishes down here, just my giant coffee mug. So now my coffee mugs are down here. But of course, the big coffee maker's upstairs, the espresso maker's down here. And so now I'm like, oh my God, all my big cups are downstairs, but the big coffee is upstairs. And I'm like, oh. So anyways, I filled a travel mug full of coffee and brought it downstairs. So anyways, yeah, problems, right? Everyone's got problems. Okay. Yeah, first world problems for sure. I don't know if you know this, but I want you guys to be successful, and I want you to work for me. I want us to run a fund, and maybe something bigger than a fund. So I want you to be successful as soon as you can, man. And by successful, I don't care how much money you make. Here's what I want from you, and I've tried it before, And it's harder, apparently, it's harder than people think. But I want to be able to tell you, baby G, every day you're going to buy the Euro USD or not buy the Euro USD. You either don't trade the Euro USD today or this week or this month, or you buy the Euro USD. You cannot sell ever. And you're like, well, but no. Because we have a big team and a big firm. We have complicated clients with complicated needs. I just need to know when you only buy Euro USD, and when you do, you make money. That's all I care about. And you're like, well, I didn't do very well this month because the trend was down. Yeah, what are you supposed to do about that? You can't do anything about that. But when the trend is up, you better make money. Okay? That's all I want you to be able to do for years. And then when I have a client come into the office, I'll say, oh, client, meet Baby G. Baby G's our Euro dollar bull portfolio manager. Baby G's an expert at this. There is no better Euro dollar bull on the planet. Patient, disciplined. But you know what? People have failed at this. So I'll keep looking. So I want you to practice for the next year. Can you do it? Yeah, well, neurotic, I'm waiting to find the people. I've given plenty of people the chance, so I'm still looking. So, planting it, I haven't mentioned it in a while, so I'm planting the seed again. All right. Yeah, that makes sense, neurotic. That makes sense. Not enough, Joe. Not enough. It seems that if I hold people's hands, they can do it. And then when I walk away and say, be independent and do it, they're not successful. So I need the independent part too, right? The M pivots are just the middle Bitcoin miners. Okay. All right. So let's do WTI. Okay. We talked about this yesterday. This is the bearish entry. This is the bearish exit. And the interesting thing about that is that's one standard deviation from the mean. So you would expect something like this to happen next. Now, if it breaks below that, then statistically speaking, it's important. At first, it's an outlier, but then we know it can be a trend breaker, right? Okay? So right now, we're approaching the bottom of the channel. And bears are supposed to exit. And bulls are supposed to, well, not necessarily bulls buy, but a bull would want to see something like that. Back to the mean. Okay? Joe says, what did they do instead? Much of trading has to do with discipline and simply doing the job, right? And that's the bigger challenge. Just day in and day out, just doing the job. And it becomes more difficult than we think. Like intellectually, it's easy, but so is like being disciplined, right? Whenever you watch a Rocky movie, you're like, "Oh man, I want to work out just like Rocky." And then you're like, "Bitch, this is hard." Like I've been rowing for 2 minutes, man. This sucks, right? So yeah. So here's how you do it, guys. Pick one currency pair. I don't care what it is. Okay? Any currency pair. If you want to do South African Rand versus Swiss franc, I don't know, whatever. Like literally, I don't care. This is practice that I'm telling you. Find any currency pair at all you want. Just pick one. Flip a coin. Oh, you're a bear. Now, trade bearishly every day, every week, every month for a year. Only bearish setups. So you either sell or you don't sell. Do it for a year. See if you can do it. If you can, you'll probably be successful as a currency trader. You'll certainly learn patience, you'll certainly learn discipline, and you'll get really good at using technical analysis to confirm or deny the market conditions. Is it favorable to sell today? Yes or no? Is this a bearish setup this week? Yes or no? Where are we going this month? Down? Yes or no? At the end of the year, you'll have learned a lot, and you'll probably have been profitable. Do it for 5 years, you'll have a career. Know this, however, 95% of people can't do it. Sounds easy. That's all you have to do. Okay? And then I have a program. If you can set this up, if you can do something like that, and you can show me, Wayne, I got the discipline to do something like that, then I can give you a shot. You put $5 grand in an account, I can arrange for another 20. I'm going to charge you some money, of course. Why? Because money ain't free, but you can keep all the profits. Just pay the 20 grand back. So I would start first by just doing it. See if you can do it. Maybe make a New Year's resolution. Between now and December 31st, ponder what currency pair and why, because it'd be better than a... okay. Hang on, guys. Hang on. Sorry. Hang on. Oh, my drawing tool's on. Hang on. Sorry. Sorry about that. Part of the construction crew from yesterday. The window was, one of the windows was so big, 6 grown men, and big men, I'm telling you, could only lift it an inch. Pretty funny. All right, so anyways, discipline, man, discipline. So pick one currency, maybe between now and the end of the year, and be ideal instead of flipping a coin. It'd be more ideal if you thought about the fundamentals. If you could tell your spouse or your papa or your mama, you say, Mama, I think the economy is going to do this in 2020. And based on my analysis of what I believe the economy will do all of next year, I believe the dollar or the yen or the Swissy or the Kiwi or the Rand, right? As a consequence of my bias for the economy, right? This other currency, this just one, will be bullish, whatever it is, right? But based on the best you are capable of now, you believe whatever currency you pick will either be, you'll be buying it for the year or selling it for the year. You understand that? So again, ideally, you make some sort of fundamental decision for the economy, your economy, wherever in the world you are. And based on your decision for all of 2020, you're going to be a buyer or seller of something, one thing. Okay? If you can do that for a year and actually trade it, remember, I don't give two hoots if you're right or wrong, because how can you possibly know when you're making a decision for an entire year? Will you always be right? No. Will you always be wrong? No. But when you trade, you'll make money. No, you just do it. You just do it. Okay? Now the filter, see, before I used to say to people, all right, can you do this? Like, yes. Are you willing to risk your own money? If I pony up 20, will you pony up 5? Yeah, I'll do that. And I let them go, and they're okay. No one's had like a disaster, but they just can't do it. So now you got to survive boot camp. You got to go through live.fxbootcamp.com. And we'll find out you just can't do it. But at least you'll learn from the experience and maybe not be humbled by the experience, right? So anyways. If you can do that, not a problem, man. I'll get you set up. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, go to live.fxbootcamp.com. Talk to Ryan. Ultimately, people don't have the discipline. That's the frank response. Capable, but it's hard, man. You got to do the job. The job ain't easy. But you don't have to be a rocket surgeon either. Okay? All right, cool. WTI. So that's what I'm thinking there. We're very supportive. It's fallen, right? So like if you're a bear, for example, we know this is the selling pivot and we know this is the exit, right? Very factual, right? Okay. You understand? If you're a bear, that's the only weekly plan that was possible. That's cool, right? If you're a bull, you never had a chance. You wanted to buy it here, it never happened. Not even for a minute. So bears had this as an entry, this as an exit, but now we're at the exit, so what are they going to do? Well, they're supposed to exit, which means there's a pretty good chance this rises. Okay? And I think we already talked about this. At some point, if we can get this to 58.5, 59-ish, it's time to start scaling out. Nice, right? gold. Okay. Let's go out further. Got to worry about that for sure. Okay. Depends on where you want to measure from. Okay. So you can see I've already marked this as potential resistance for you. Notice how it didn't even play the pivot, which is really good if you're a bull. So bulls now are looking for plan B, and plan B might go like this. It's not quite right. I didn't quite draw that properly, but okay. I'll probably look left here, play this out. Okay. So that means if I was a bull, I would imagine in the next 4 to 6 hours, I'd be long like this. Okay. Can you see it? And of course, if you're a bear, I marked this for you yesterday at 14.75 based on price action. There's also a monthly pivot. So you clearly have an opportunity to create a double top if you're a bear. If you're a bull, you're expecting to break that, and it didn't. But you also expect a pullback at some point. So anyways, so it just really comes down to your planning. That's all this is, over and over and over again, guys. Okay? A double top and a monthly pivot. Also, you should understand, if you were a bear, this was the ideal sell zone. Right? So as a bear, you would have, you would have wanted something like this anyway. So a top up there is, it's not ideal, but, I don't know, whatever. So let's do it this way. If you're a bull, you're going to want to buy that dip. That's it. Enough said. Okay? Can you guys see that? So a bear would be, let's do this in a different color. A bear would be trading this as a range and would be expecting this. Okay? Bears are thinking this. Bulls are trying to break this out. So they're thinking this. Okay? Which may not be proper because nothing says breakout yet. But you remember, they have a little more hope in their analysis, right? They're hoping, because we know this is double bottom territory, right? So if you're a bull, you're definitely playing that double bottom territory. It was something that we had a couple of weeks ago. We were saying, if you're a bull, the trend has been down, but we've hit this key level, this pivot profit zone. And if things go well, it's going to double bottom there. Oh, look, it did double bottom there. So now with the double bottom, if you were a bull praying for a double bottom, what would you pray for next? Higher low, higher high. Well, that's what we got going on. Remember, we're not even talking about today or yesterday or this week or last week. Our analysis goes back longer than the last several days of trading. You understand? So you have to throw that on top of what you see here. Baby G, if the US dollar weakens, gold will go up. Max, let's just simplify everything, Max. Okay. Now, first of all, I hope I can convince you just in general that you're wrong. I'm not doing that to smack you or all that kind of stuff. I'm just hoping you're open-minded enough to say that you're wrong. You have to be able to believe me, right? Okay. Now let's go back into history. I don't even need a chart for this. When the U.S. was at the brink of collapse, Lehman Brothers, for example, went out of business. Banks were failing. Even Goldman Sachs was getting bailed out. Government-sponsored agencies were getting bailed out. The automakers, Ford and General Motors, were going out of business. And unemployment was the highest it had been since the Great Depression. And interest rates fell from 5.5% to less than 1%. Was the dollar strong or was the dollar weak? I was there every second of every day. Was the dollar strong or was the dollar weak? Interest rates fell from 5.5 to 0.5. Was the US dollar strong or was the US dollar weak? Bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba da 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 US dollar was strong! Yeah! Woohoo! Banking was going out of business! Real estate was going out of business! Retail sales of all sorts were going out of business. Factories were closing. People lost their jobs. People lost 50% of their net worth. And the dollar was by far the strongest currency on the planet. Jose, money supply went up and up and up and up and up. Quantitative easing 1, quantitative easing 2, Operation Twist, quantitative easing 3. Cash for clunkers, $1 trillion spending bill, building new bridges, which I've never seen, building new roads, which I've never seen. Shovel-ready projects at the ready. You understand now? There's an element of the rest of the world in the equation as well. Okay? Max, so think of it this way. It has to do with the rest of the world too. Okay, the United States is cutting interest rates, so that's not good. But is the US economy better than the European economy? Okay. Is the US economy, let's just skip it. Like, is it better than the Canadian economy? Is it better than the Australian economy? Is it better than the New Zealand economy? Is the United States doing better than most of Asia, if not all of Asia? Are Americans better off than Africans? Are Americans better off than the Russians? Right? Cool. So, a year and a half ago, the United States was willing to pay you 3.25% for a 10-year loan. Okay, think of that. All you had to do was buy a 10-year T-note. 3.25%. Let's say a year and a half ago you did some analysis. You're like, holy snap. Interest rates in the United States over the next 12 months are going to fall from 3.25% to 2%. You still with me, Max? It hasn't happened yet. But you're like, things are not going well. The United States is paying 3.25%, but I think over the next year, this is going to come down hard. They went way too far. So, what do you think if the rest of the world agreed with you? Because remember, everyone else in the world is doing the same thing. Okay? The rest of the world says, holy snap. If I wait a year to make a decision on what to do with my money, my investment will drop 50%. Is what you're thinking. And so while you're pondering this, the Fed cuts interest rates and the 10-year T-note drops from 3.25% to 3%. And you're like, oh no, it's happening. If I don't act now, a 10-year T-note will go from 3% to 2%. A 50% decline. Wait. 2 to 3 is 50%, but 3 to 2 is not, but whatever. A significant, right? A 33% decline in interest rates over the course of the year if you don't do anything. And you know you got this money and you know you need to invest it. So do you buy the 10-year T-note now, or do you wait a year? Or do you wait 6 months for it to fall from 3 to 2.5? Like, how long do you wait when you see this new trend that you saw coming? How long do you want to wait to deploy your capital? Knowing that every single day you wait, interest rates will fall. What would you do, Max? This is behavioral finance. The Fed hasn't announced anything. It hasn't happened yet. You're just thinking and acting. Every day you wait, you know interest rates are coming down. I'm waiting, Max. When do you deploy your capital? When do you buy? You got to buy the 10-year T-note. No! Why? Give me the number one reason why you're doing this. Why now? Because interest rates are falling. And to buy the 10-year T-note, you need to buy the US dollar first. So you exchange your local currency for the US dollar, driving up demand for dollar, driving up the value of the dollar. And once you're holding dollars in your fist, you buy the 10-year T-note. And all of this happened because interest rates were falling. Now, when this happens in Zimbabwe, don't treat it the same as the United States. We're talking about the reserve currency for the entire world, governed by the central bank, which now governs the entire world. So the US dollar is not the same as anything else. If Canada cuts interest rates, the Canadian dollar falls. If Australia cuts interest rates, it falls. But the reverse is now true. I've asked you this week in particular, spend time on the New Zealand website. And then by de facto, as soon as you're done the Reserve Bank of New Zealand, you should probably go to the Reserve Bank of Australia, okay? And read their analysis. And if you believe, now that Australia is at the all-time low for interest rates, never in 1,000 years of history, well, actually, how old is Australia? Probably 105 years old, I'm guessing. In over 100 years of history, interest rates have never been lower. So if you believe, not guessing by the way, having spent hours and hours and hours doing research on the Reserve Bank of Australia's website, if you believe they are now at an all-time low, they will not cut further. Now, it might be a long time before they raise, but if you believe at the very least they are done cutting, then maybe you should buy Aussie dollar. You understand? Not because it's going up, but because it can't fall further. Do you understand? We're once again talking behavioral finance. No policy change at the Reserve Bank of Australia, but if everyone believes or even bets, I tell you not to bet, but you know other people do bet. If you believe they are done cutting and there is a floor in interest rates, then someone is going to buy the Aussie dollar knowing it can't get cheaper. Well, of course, we know it can, but at least you can ride the coattails of some other degenerate gambler, let them push up the value of the Aussie dollar for you. You jam your stop and say, make it happen. Okay? But you guys gotta be ahead of the game like I'm teaching you. It's not about the 5-8 cross and the 15-minute chart. If you can only do that, you're a bajillionaire. Figure out your one thing. I don't care what it is. What's your alpha? I'm a dollar bear. Good. And if you're a dollar bull, I don't hate you. It doesn't matter to me. You're a bull, I'm a bear, so what? You'll make money, I'll make money. At the end of the year, we'll probably make the same amount of money. You'll make money in the first quarter, I'll make money in the second quarter. You make money in the third quarter, I'll make money in the fourth quarter. And we're just like, yeah, what a great year. You got it, man. Okay? Cool. So am I right? Is Australia about 105 years old? Honestly, I don't know. By the way, my wife bought me a gift for graduation. I graduate I get my second degree in May. So it's a little early, but it's rare that the gift that she got me, so she had to get it just because it's the only one in the world. So here's a cool thing. In 1900, the president of Harvard, his name was Eliot. So if you're in Boston area, there's there's all kinds of buildings with the word Eliot on it, E-L-I-O-T. There's elementary schools and parks. And of course, when you're at Harvard, there's buildings and houses named after him because he was not only a student and a graduate, but he was also president of Harvard University. And in 1900, he said, you can educate pretty much anybody if they read a sequence of books no wider than a yard. I think it was 5 foot, right? A shelf of books no longer than, and he goes like this. No wider than this. Just a bunch of books, certain books, of course, but they would take up 5 feet on a shelf. And if you could read read that shelf of books, you'd have a round education. You'd be an educated person. You would be Illuminati. So he said this in a speech in 1900. It might have been 1902, whatever. And so a publisher from New York said, really? care to be specific? Why don't you tell us which 5 feet of books someone should read to be an educated person? So they worked together for a year and they curated something called the Harvard Shelf, the 5-foot wide stack of books, right? 52 volumes of books. And they printed them. And it's like the very first book is the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. But it goes through all the Greek, Odyssey adventures, and it goes through the great poets and the great writers of American history and the great British writers. And it goes all the way back to like Machiavelli, which I love, and then The Wealth of Nations, which I love, and Darwin and his writings, and amazing, right? So anyways, my wife bought me the first edition. 1909. They're 110 years old. Nice. So I just got a notification they're being put into boxes and being shipped out and everything like that. And it's the 1909 hand curated by Eliot himself stack of books. So even if I have 2 degrees from Harvard, I'm not an educated man until I read all these books. So anyways, I got something to do once I'm done with school. I got to read all these books. Yeah. What's the value of it? It's priceless. What are you talking about? Dude, 52 volumes, 3 boxes. The first edition, 1909, beautiful, bound and everything, like legit. I'm really excited. Yeah, there's a lot, but there's, it's not just Adam Smith. There's like, let's say there's Locke, John Locke, there's Hobbes, I think Ricardo is in there, Machiavelli, Smith, and Benjamin Franklin, he was an interesting dude. Everyone knows him because he has the funny glasses and he held the kite with the key on it. But like, what kind of person has a kite with a key on it in the middle of a storm? Someone with a scientific mind. He was the ambassador to France for the United States. He was the one that did the time change. Right? Like, he was an interesting dude, right? He was an interesting dude. So, you got to read the story of his life. So, like, for example, I think he donated all his books to the first Library of Congress, which I think eventually burned down. He and Washington had amazing. Oh, and the other guy. Anyways, these guys had amazing curations of books back then because books were expensive and stuff. So, anyways, yeah, Locke, John Locke's essay on human understanding, yeah. Russell's teaching Machiavelli to your 8-year-old. Yeah, that's cool. So anyways, how exciting is that, right? So like, I think it was Franklin. He had something like, what was it? 12 virtues. I think this was him. 12 virtues of which you can live your life as you should live your life as a human being. And he would take one value per week and try to live examples of that virtue. And every 3 months have to repeat. I think that's Franklin. That might be someone else. But he wrote it down, right? And he wrote it down and then lived his life in a fashion like, this week I have to have this virtue. Next week I have to have this virtue. Was that Aristotle? I must be mixing it all up then. But, he might have just ripped off Aristotle. Right? But whatever. So, anyways, I'm kind of excited about that. So, who knows when these books will show up. I don't even know where to put them and stuff, but I'm like, that is so cool. So, now I need to know what I need to read. But, like, when I start, one of the things I want to do is the FX Book Club again. And we will read all these guys together. Maybe I'll read from the Harvard shelf. But I want to read Hobbes And do you guys know Ricardo? Ricardo, we would start there, right? Well, actually, no, we wouldn't start with Ricardo. I think we have to go all the way back to Locke and Hobbes, I think. So you'd start with Locke, and then you do Hobbes. And then in there with the Corn Laws, I think you got to do Ricardo. And this is all England at the time, right? Right? Machiavelli goes even farther back. So maybe we start with Machiavelli, then we do Locke, and then we do Hobbes, and then we do Ricardo, right? Like we should be reading all these, right? And then we read Adam Smith, and this would all be sort of either part of an FX Bootcamp training course, and maybe we'll do FX Book Club or something like that. And I'd give you a PhD quality education if you're willing to read the books. Okay. Oh, we would have to do what the hell is that guy's name? Marx. You'd have to read Karl Marx. You'd have to read Karl Marx. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Gonna be a communist. Gonna get red flagged on Amazon. Baby G says, yeah, Franklin was a great man and really had his time. So anyways, we got lots to do, guys. We got lots to do. So the world is our oyster, right? The wind is at our backs and in our sails, taking us to the stars. I guess we'll call it a Tuesday. I'll see you on Wednesday, right? Please take a moment in time to like the video. If you're new, please subscribe. And if you could wait 22 seconds, please, I'll end the video. And then I will, in this chat, put the link to the recording of today's video. Would you please leave a comment? Like actually write a comment, not in the chat, in the area underneath the video. So wait 22.5 seconds, okay? And I will post the link here and you can leave a comment, even if it's a thank you or something like that. It's very, very, very helpful to the community. So please support the community by waiting 22 seconds and then leaving a comment on the link I'm about to post.